Hello, my name is Cole Munro-Chitty, and this is my game Drive Desert Apocalypse. I'm the artist, designer, and graphic designer for the game. So this is a setup for 4 players. The map size changes depending on the player count, so it gets smaller with less players. Each player has a player board and their player area. We've got the score track and the battle track here. We've got some bandits that you can fight up here. And let's see. We've got a couple other extra decks of cards here, some in-game personal goals and some resource cards. And some dice and some tiles that will be placed out onto the board. So you play warring factions in an apocalyptic desert setting, and the game is a race to 40 victory points. Whoever gets to 40 victory points first or past 40 victory points triggers the end of the game, and then there will be some end game scoring. Couple unique things about the game is this is a deck upgrader, not a deck builder. So you start with 10 starter cards, and you have some upgrade cards here throughout the game. As you build territories on the map, you will replace starter cards in your deck from your discard pile with these upgraded cards. And the upgraded cards tend to be better than the starter cards, of course. So that's a way to kind of personalize your gameplay experience. We've got resource management on these tracks with 4 basic resources: steel, gasoline, water, and bullets. On the player board itself, we've got what the resources do, we've got the different actions in the game, and we've got sort of the town builder layout. So what it costs to build the towns and then what you get from them. The cards themselves are multi-use, so you can spend any number of these symbols on the left together or separately, and you can break your turn up as you wish. So you could move, attack, and then build. And then the last action is to scavenge. With these starter cards, you can either play them for the symbol on the left or for their text ability. Players will be moving around on the board along these road spaces and through the desert spaces. Once they hit a skull, they have to fight bandits. And when you do that, you will just spend bullets to bring their strength level down, and then roll dice based on how many combat reticles you spent from cards, trying to meet or beat their defense value. And then you would gain resources below and victory points for defeating them. And then you also take this card as a trophy next to your player board, because that will give you some endgame scoring depending on what the board state looks like at the end of the game. To build, you just have to be in one of these darker hex flowers here, and you get to place territory marker and troops on the building depending on how many pyramids you spent when you built. And building is what triggers your access to the upgrade card. So at the end of your turn, depending on what color you built, you would gain a new card into your deck and discard it or get rid of an older card from the game. The last thing you can do is scavenge. So you can scavenge on these spaces to gain gas or water equal to the number of shovels that you spent. Or you can scavenge on the darker spaces equal to the number of shovels you spent. You would draw from the scavenge deck and get some instant resources, instant goals, And also some cards that you can put into your hand to spend as actions later along with your cards. There is player versus player combat. People just come in and try to take over your territory, and you would calculate strength and defense there. And it is possible for them to take over your territory, but you do have the opportunity to defend yourself. You're able to fight bosses in the game, which are very high strength, but they give you pretty good reward. And they give you access to these boss upgrade cards, which are really good. And then the final thing is the endgame scoring. Depending on the board state, you will gain victory points for your different colored bandits. So if my opponents owned a couple of these, say that, and let's say I owned a yellow one over here, I would gain points for my yellow bandit, 2 points for every city that matches its color that I own, and 1 point for every city that matches the color that my opponents own. So this guy would be worth 2, 3 extra points. This guy would be worth 1, 2, because my opponents have cities, but I don't. And then also, for every city color that you own at the end of the game, so I have yellow and red, I would gain victory points equal to where those resource markers are on the track. So 5 and 7. And that's about it. That's Drive. I do have a very detailed rule book all laid out. Art and graphic design by me. It is in the file section if you guys want to check it out. And that is Drive, Desert Apocalypse. I'd be very happy to talk with you guys more about the game, or hop on TTS and play a game, or send you a prototype. All right, talk to you later. Thanks for taking the time.